Okay, good day. In this video, you're going to learn how to solve the mean and variance of the sampling distribution of means. And this is lesson number 2 of the sampling and sampling distribution. And from the previous videos, natutunan nyo kung paano mag-construct ng sampling distribution and you learned how to draw the equivalent histogram of the sampling distribution. At the same time, na-explain ko sa inyo yung kahalagahan ng central limit theorem natin na kung saan kapag ang random samples of size n natin ay palaki na palaki, yung ating sampling distribution of the means approaches to normal distribution. Kahit ano pa ang shape ng ating population distribution. Okay? And we have only one objective for lesson number 2. That is, at the end of the lesson, you are expected to find the mean and variance of the sampling distribution of the sample means. Okay? And dito rin sa lesson ninyo, matututunan nyo yung steps on how to determine the mean and variance of the sampling distribution. Sample means the formulas na gagamitin natin para makuha yung mean and variance, and the properties of the sampling distribution of sample mean. Okay? Now, how to determine the mean and variance of the sampling distribution of sample mean? We have steps to be followed. Number 1 is we compute first the mean of the population. Okay? And then we compute the variance of the population. By the way, we use mu for the mean population and sigma squared. It should be sigma squared for the variance of the population, and sigma is for the population standard deviation. Now, the third is we're going to determine all possible samples of size n using the formula of combination n. And this is the first step in constructing the sampling distribution of the mean. Okay? Then, list all possible samples and their corresponding means. And then, we're going to construct the sampling distribution of the sample means. Na itong third, fourth step na tutunan niyo to dun sa ating lesson number 1, that is constructing sampling distribution of sample mean. Now, the sixth step is we're going to compute the sampling distribution of the sample means using our symbol na gagamitin natin, mu sub x. And we have here the steps. Multiply the sample mean by the corresponding probability. Add the results, that will be x bar times the probability of x bar. Yung x bar natin, ito yung ating sample mean. Okay? And we have the probability ng ating sample mean. Then we're going to add the results. The result will become the mean of the sampling distribution of the sample means, or mu sub x. Okay? May summation symbol dapat ton. Okay? Now, for the variance of the sampling distribution of the sample means, we're going to follow this step. We have subtract the population mean from each sample mean, and we're going to label this as x bar minus mu. Letter B, we're going to square the results, and then we're going to multiply the results by the corresponding probability. And if we're going to add itong mga to, that will become your variance of the sampling distribution of the sample mean. And the last step is we're going to construct the histogram for the sampling distribution of the sample means. Okay, so these are the steps on how we're going to determine the mean and variance of the sampling distribution of sample mean. I'm going to give you examples kung paano natin execute itong mga steps na to in order for us to determine the mean and variance of the sampling distribution of sample mean. Okay? And then, we have here the formulas. Ganun din ito, parang summary lamang ito. Yung last part ng ating pag-compute doon sa step in finding the variance and mean, pinaro na yung mga formulas ng mean and variance of the sampling distribution of sample mean. For the mean, we use summation of x bar times probability of x bar. For the variance, we have sigma squared sub x is summation of the probability of x times square of the difference of x bar and the mu. Okay? Ano naman yung properties of the sampling distribution of sample mean? If all possible samples of size n are drawn from a population of size n with mean mu and variance sigma squared, then the sampling distribution of the sample means has the following properties. Ano yun? Kapag lahat daw ng possible sample size ay kinuha natin doon sa population, ito yung corresponding property of the sampling distribution of the sample mean. Tatandaan nyo doon sa constructing sampling distribution, lahat naman ng possible sample size n ay kinuha natin sa population. Okay? Nag-list pa nga tayo doon ng ilang samples. Tapos kinuha natin yung mean. Possible samples of size n. Kinuha natin doon. So, magiging first property niya, yung ating population mean will be equal to our mean of the sampling distribution of the sample mean. In symbol, we write mu equal to mu sub x. And for the variance, for finite population, the variance of our sampling distribution of the sample mean is computed using the relation sigma squared over n times n minus n on top all over n minus 1 at the bottom. And for the infinite population, we use sigma squared sub x equal to population variance all over n. That is for infinite population. For the standard deviation, all we have to do is just to get the square root of both sides of our formulas to obtain the formula para sa standard deviation. That is sigma sub x for finite population. That is sigma all over square root of n times square root of the quantity n minus n all over n minus 1. Yung ating square root of n minus n all over n minus 1 is what we call the correction factor, okay, for finite population. And for infinite population, the variance can be computed using sigma sub x equal to population standard deviation all over square root of the sample size n. And I'm going to give you examples para mas malalo pang maintindihan natin yung paggamit ng formulas para sa mean and variance at yung steps natin in finding the mean and variance of the sampling distribution of sample mean. At the same time, para maintindihan nyo rin itong properties ng ating sampling distribution. Okay? So, I'm going to give you 2 to 3 examples for this topic. Thank you.